Hi, everybody. You're listening and viewing newsstreamingnetwork.com at WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio. Welcome to my show, Dare to Dream. I'm Reverend Graham, and I'm an international third generation intuitive, evidential medium and psychic. And this is my show, and I've been doing it for about 3 years now. And I have a blast. I never plan what I'm going to say because I'm spirit led. And the topic today is a little bit more serious because it affects emotions, chosen families. Now, I know at an early age, I was born into a family that understood spirit, mediums, rescue mediums, psychics, all this. We used to do all the aspects you can imagine: dowsing, twitching, pendulum, Ouija boards, all the rest. We did everything. But out of all those kids, I've got 5 other siblings in England. I tell a lie, I've got 4 others in England. And I've got 3 over here in America. I'm the only one actually working with spirit. All my family, England and here, have worked with the medical side in some degree or another. Now, I don't profess in 1 second to being medically trained, but I've learnt a lot about medical conditions. My parents worked with the mentally and physically challenged and impaired. But the topic, as I say, chosen families. When I was a child, I used to go on the wards of a hospital for these people, and they became like my family. And the doctors and the nurses were fantastic, but the doctors didn't understand how to listen, what it meant to be a family aspect. They're just patients. So, what's the name? Oh, yeah, I've got arm folder, yeah, diagnostic. That's not a family. Now, the topic for my family, today is because a very good friend of mine lost a very good friend, a very long-standing, most of her life. And her friend died suddenly. And she was left, my friend, to do a lot of the paperwork, a lot of the startup process of having somebody who's deceased buried or interred. I don't know any more than the detail of her friend died. I don't know what procedures are done or not done, but I do know my friend took up the task of doing what normally families do. They didn't. Think about it. Emotional contact with people in your family and outside your family matter. I've said at the start, I've got a brother and 3 sisters in England. I've got 2 half sisters and a half brother here. I consider 3 of them close family, and the others not so close, because I get on with some and I don't get on with others. I have a limitation. People who drain my energy, please step away. I love them, don't get me wrong, I love them, but I can't stand being with them for too long. We grew up differently. They're into material stuff, nursing and all the rest of it, which is commendable. But the energy is draining me, and I stepped away. So when I heard about my friend having to do this, I instantly said, I'm going to have to do a show about this. I had no clue what I was going to say. But family, to me, means those that will stand by you through thick and thin. Out of love, not just because you're blood. My family, I came over here December 2001, married Sandy in 2002, January, has 2 daughters. I treat them as my daughters. I treat Sandy as my wife, of course. I have a son and daughter in England. I hardly speak to my son because of his commitments of work and all the rest of it. It's been a long time since I've seen him. But I've seen my daughter. I consider my daughter more family than my son, but I love them both. And I love their families. But you see, you've got to set up a parameter. What makes you, the person, happy? And I feel strongly it's the memories you've made together with those people you love, including the bad and the good. You've got to put it all together, but you have to choose which you prefer. As a medium, I pick up a lot of people's physical energy and the spiritual. For example, today, my wife and I went to a lake. There's two ladies with their children, 3 or 4 children, and an older couple. And we sat floating on the lake in our air flotations, chatting away. Ambient. It's beautiful. But the gentleman that we were talking to started going political. So I thought, okay. And I floated away. But his wife wanted to talk with my wife, Sandy, and myself, and found out she'd had a brain injury, severe one. 3 years, couldn't do it. And she was holding herself down. At the end of our conversation, she said, what you gave me is more than my family. I was, what? We were just chit-chatting. But she said, that part about my brain, and everybody thinks I'm lost and all that, but my husband, he was by my side, great guy. She says, but my family think, no, you've changed. Well, that's good that she's changed. I said, because, you know, if somebody's got a brain injury as severe as yours was, where you couldn't walk, you couldn't talk, you couldn't remember anything, I said, now you're lucid, clear, physically able, you're floating in a lake, having a great conversation. That's a good thing. Your brain's rewired itself. He said, I've never ever said that before. And it made her lift up. He said, I wish you lived closer. I said, well, we're not a family, so don't worry about it. We'll be back again. And these people come from up north, the snowbirds, as we say in Florida, come down here for a few months and go back up north when the weather's good and back down here when it isn't. But that's the whole point. When you form bonds and connections with people, it doesn't have to be blood relatives. It's what makes you feel happy. Now, my friend said she'd known this lady for a very long time. And the shock really hurt. But in a way, I know this may sound weird, but when the heart feels such sudden pain, somebody's gone away. This is gone. And instantly the heart starts closing back up again. It's the pain of the closure. Your heart's trying to heal. And when it's okay enough, it's whole again. Your friends in your memory, in your heart. And that is the beautiful thing about spirit and the human experience. The memories we have of those people in our hearts mean a lot more than those in our heads. The lady with the injury at the lake, she says, are you really a medium? I said, yeah. What can you read in me? Now we're floating in the middle of a lake. Seriously, this afternoon. I said, I've got your sister talking about a chicken. I'm not saying your sister's passed, but I'm just saying your sister has a chicken, and it was a big point of laughter. How did you know that? I said, I don't know. Just see all these animals and the chickens right there going, quack, 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 pecking. And everybody's laughing. Does that make sense? I almost forgot about Harold. So what? Harold the chicken. I said, that's a man's name. It should be a rooster. That's why it was so funny. We called him Harold before we realised it was a chicken. We thought it was a cockle. But you see, when I interact with people, I choose to. I choose to let that energy merge with mine to a degree. It's only Sandy that no barriers whatsoever. Because I choose my family. When I fell in love with Sandy, all the barriers were gone. Literally, there was no barrier. She could ask me anything, anytime, still does. I have no problem. When I lost my best friend, he took my warship in 1982, went down the Falklands. I was supposed to have HMS Coventry, if you check it up. She got injured in the Falklands War. At first, I was misled, thinking she'd sank. I've since found out, more than likely, she wasn't sunk, but she was damaged. And in that damage, my best friend who took my warship died. Now, he was a very close friend. We've known each other for a solid 18 months. I trained him as a cook in the Royal Navy. I was a leading cook. And when he died, or I heard he died, we were devastated. It could have been me. But then I thought, hang on, we chose to be friends. We got on. He knew I was his leading cook. He was my junior. But I wanted to train him to pass me because of, how can you say, family problems at the time, having divorced. And he wanted to take my ship so I could sort out the divorce of my ex-wife at the time. And you see, if he hadn't died that way, and my understanding of what it is, of what love and memory means, with those people I want in my heart, if I didn't understand it, I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't be doing these shows. I'd be very sad, very held back, negative. I used to be an alcoholic. And I know what it was so easy just to have a wee dram or a pint. But since I met Sandy, gone. You see, we choose who we want in our lives before we enter our physical bodies. Science now has found ways of recording this and checking it up. It's like a deja vu and reincarnation. You choose the body and family you want to be with, to go through and learn how to be a better person. But by choosing the people you call family, not necessarily blood related though, they can be if you are lucky. But you name a family with more than two siblings or more, they get on 110% 24/7 without a minute's disagreement. I'd be shocked. I'm 71 and I've seen people, families all my life, been involved with rich people, poor people, educated people, not so educated. And I don't care how much money you've got in your pocket, it's how much gold you've got in your heart. And my friend's friend who passed was platinum as well as gold and a diamond. And that to me is worth more than blood relationship. But you've got to understand, we are here on this earth for a limited time. We form these connections. We don't know how long for, but you've got to work on the positivity. And when they pass away, you're honored. You're honored that they're in your heart, in your memory. And it helps ease that loss of the physical. It doesn't ever go away missing them, but it becomes more tolerable. When my mother passed away, She phoned me. I told this before on the previous show, but I spoke to her for 2 hours the night before she was having her operation, and she knew she would never recover from the op. She knew she'd pass. But I found out recently, this year, that my mother was on intensive care from the moment she came out of her surgery and never fully recovered and died. But my mum knew that. She knew she wasn't going to survive. Within hours of her operation, literally, while she's still on intensive care, or in intensive care, she woke my wife up, Sandy, with a scent. But I'd written something and put it under Sandy's pillow. One word. And when she told me about this scent, I said, look under your pillow. One word. Lilac. Yeah, that's it. That was mum's favourite scent. Because my grandmother, where we lived with my mum and my 3 sisters and my younger brother, we lived there, and she had a lilac tree outside the front window. And when that scent came through, it's heaven. So, getting to loss, getting through it, you never get over it. It becomes more tolerable. And when my siblings actually tell me more about my mum's passing, I said, I know. And I'm happy she passed without pain. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm more afraid of how am I going to die? So I don't want to know. I don't want to know the latter. I just want to know when I'm going, I go. All pain-free. I don't want DNR. Made it plain to Sandy. And in a way, my mum's heritage is me, my brother, and my 3 sisters. I would choose a couple to live with. I've tried. I've grown up with them. I love them deeply, but I just can't be with them for very long. But the whole point of life is to do the best you can with changes. That's the only guarantee you're going to have in your life, changes. I experienced something over 45 years ago. My daughter, who I helped deliver because the midwife was late getting there, asked me about writing a book. Nothing happened for 40 years. Then COVID hit, 2019. She asked me, have you written a book? I said, no, forgot. Never got around to it. Oh, can you remember what it's about? Yeah. So I did it. I wrote it. Now, what's that got to do with chosen family? Well, my daughter, believe it or not, I'm very, very, very close to, but I hardly know her because of circumstances. And because she remembers something when she was very young about a book that I promised to write her, made my heart flourish. I have actually written it. And I was just talking to Cece at the start of the show, and I'm going to actually plug it, Cece. I wrote this book in 3.5 months, and I'm going through editorial and all the rest of it, paid for it. And that's the name of my book, A Spirit for All Nations. Book 1 is An Awakening. It's still going through all that paperwork. I've paid my dues. It's going through. And I've started book 2. But see, the Spirit is all about a child who was left by his parents. His mother was Native American. My mum was American. My father, as in the hero, his father was British. And it all came about. 3.5 months, click. Now, I'm the world's worst writer, as my very good friend who is a professional book editor told me. I'm #1 world's worst writer. But she knew me and she promised she would edit it for me for free. It took her 3.5 years because she's a professional book editor. She could only do it in her spare time. I was in no rush. It's been 40 odd years. But then I got hold of Grammarly, then Grammarly Pro, and I wrote my book and edited it better. But you see, this is all about choosing family. The book is all about choosing. My life is about choosing. I choose to be with people that make me feel like family. I want my book, it's okay, Cece, I want my book to actually spur people into understanding what a chosen families and loss are about. Because in my story, because of my past, loss and all the rest of it being held up at one point, with my gifts being asked, would I like to go into an experimental medical unit just to find out how I work, similar to the Russians did with their psychics and mediums. And I said, no, thank you. I'm quite happy doing this. And then I left the Navy. But life is about doing the best you can. And sometimes you're going to say, but I failed. My friend's gone and I'm empty. I'm all alone. Well, that says a lot for your love for your friend that's gone. That you're all alone. Does that mean your heart has stopped feeling? Your heart stopped beating? No. It's the physical loss that we endure. The spiritual loss is easier to cope with. Because I knew, as I said earlier, my mum came within hours of passing to wake my wife up. My grandmother's been. We have a tile in our fireplace with a face of a beautiful lady. We've got energy in this house because we choose to limit family that comes in. You have to put up a barrier. You have to accept the loss. Don't like it, but you've got to accept it. It's like people say, what do people think of you? They don't really like you, but they respect you, which is a lot more than most. I don't know if I deserve the respect because, hey, I'm just me. But the funny thing is, you see that picture behind me? It used to be Tower Bridge. A couple I officiated their wedding for many years ago. I got a call from them saying, got a picture. I don't want it anymore. It's been stuck in storage for 3.5 months and I've got to get rid of it. Do you want it? And he pulled up from my house, took the picture out. I said, do you know what my book's about? Native Americans. And he was going to throw it away. The day I got my book finished, that picture appeared. You see, when you choose the parameters of what makes you happy in your family, the group of people you call family, the loss becomes easier to deal with. I see warships on TV and pictures and postcards and papers and all that, and I instantly think of my friend who died. And I know it's him trying to say, you ain't got rid of me yet, Graham. Well, my nickname was Bungy, Bungy. Don't ask me why, it's a Navy nickname. And I always say thanks to him. And he said his name. I don't want to say his name out loud, out of respect. But he's my friend. He's my family. He helped me get through a divorce. He helped me carry a wreath to his grave in the Falklands on behalf of his family. You see, I, as a medium, don't handle loss like people who don't believe in spirit. Everybody's different. But if you believe in the spirit that is within us all, which is from God, which is everlasting being, he created us in his image And I believe strongly that is spiritual image, and gave us choice. You choose right and wrong. You choose good and evil. You choose your family. When your spirit entered that body to come here, you chose to be in that family. But you've learnt enough. Now you can step away, or you can go further in. Whatever makes you happy, you have the choice. And God, as I say, I'm not a religious person, even though I am a reverend, because I counsel people. And in Florida, you've got to have psychiatry and psychology degrees to counsel people. But as a reverend, I can do it in confidence. And I will never break that confidence, being a minister. And the family of ministers I joined are so amazing. But now this topic may hit a few people hard. And if you want to contact me, you've got two email addresses there. The first one, amedium77, all one word, @gmail.com, or the Britt, TheBritt77 @hotmail.com. If you've got any questions about the show or anything to do with spirit, email me. Or you can phone Florida, USA 352-409-1060. Leave a voice message, please, and I will get back to you. And if you want to get hold of me, look me up, Graham Williamson, Facebook. You see my face, you'll know what it looks like. I think I'm wearing a Doctor Who outfit with a blue tie and a scarf. You'll see me. But that's if you want to contact me, because my show is about connection, not just with spirit, but with you. This is what communication on the new streaming network is about. You know, we have so many shows here to do with loss, to do with love, to do with divorce, to do with pain. All these people have their shows, but mine is bi-weekly. This is Wednesday, in 2 weeks at 6 p.m. And I believe it was on the 9th or 10th of, 10th. I was wrong. But Wednesday, September the 10th. And I don't know what the topic of the show is. If you want a particular topic, let me know. Because there's the addresses. You can contact me or phone me. But you must leave a voice message on my telephone, because we all know what it's like when you, crank call, put down, spam, put down. But the Dare to Dream show is, dare you dream beyond your parameter, your boundary, your family, your life, your love, your ego, your heart. All these things you choose. I chose to be a recovered alcoholic. I chose to be honest with my family, with myself. I am still classed as an alcoholic by my family. But that's a label I can take, because I am an alcoholic, but I haven't drunk for 24 years. I am Graham. And my chosen family is my wife and my two stepdaughters. My son and daughter in England are still family. And I would choose to be with them in a heartbeat, to visit. Because they've got their lives. I've got mine. I haven't lost anything. I've gained. I've gained the loss of my mum, because now she can visit me 24/7. In fact, I sometimes say, Mum, I want to go to sleep. Unless it's life or death, leave me alone. And you think I'm joking. I'm not. That's the funny thing about it. Bad phrase, but that's what it is. You know, spirit are with you. Those that you love are with you. When you see a flower or a bee or something that just reminds you of your lost loved one, say thanks. That's all right. Yeah, I know it's you. I smell lilac. Hi, Mum. Or I see a face and I'll, okay, Mum, you got a funny face. Or somebody doing acrobatics where they bend the legs over and put the feet in front of them. That was my mum when she was younger. When I see a kilt, that reminds me of grandfather. You know, all these things I've learned to link. I don't lose them. Physically, yes. I physically miss those people I love. And I still love them. It's not loved, it's love. That's how I deal, with loss. That's how I deal with chosen families. And I hope what I've said today will help my friend understand that it's all natural. It's a pain in the neck. It's painful to lose someone you love. But because you love them, they'll always be here in your heart. They'll always pester you. I say 8 o'clock at night, leave me alone unless it's life or death. Because I have to sleep. I have to live on this earth until I pass over. Then I'm going to bug everybody else. And if they don't have a barrier to say, leave me at 8 o'clock, I'm going to hound them 24/7 too. I make light of it because I'm not afraid of what's on the other side. Because I'm living my life to the fullest I can in a positive way. I've not achieved Armageddon. I've not achieved utopia. I've not achieved the top of. I'm still climbing. I'm still achieving. I'm still learning. But everything that's in my heart with love, I want it to stay. And some of the pain, I want it to remind me, yeah, I screwed up there, but now I've learned from it. Or I could have done better. You see, you have the word choice. It was given to you at your birth. You choose to live your life to the best of your ability with people around you. Well, as I said earlier, people for some reason said, we respect you. We may not like it, but we respect you. I didn't earn that. I don't think. But you've got to remember, you cannot truly evaluate somebody else's opinion of yourself. You can't. I'm just a learner. I've been learning for 71 years. And I'm going to learn a lot more. I want to learn how to write a book better and make my friend who's an editor a lot happier. And I found a way to do it. You see, I chose those people around me that I love. I want them to be proud of me. Not, oh, you're brilliant, Graham. No, just you changed, Graham. You did good. That's all. That's the family I want around me. What sort of family do you want around you? What's the time? The other thing I want to say about loss. I had a very good friend who was a psychic artist. And she came up to me and said, Graham, I feel drawn to draw your picture. Would you allow me to? I said, sure. Or draw me a picture, I should say. I said, sure. So I sat down on a chair and she had an easel here. And we were just chit-chatting. And she was drawing in pencil. What she drew was the last picture on this earth. I was the last one to get a picture from her. So I believe. Or the last but one, something very close to the end of the day, and she drew the picture. When she left the building, got in her car, she never got home. She passed in the car accident. But that picture she drew was of my grandfather. And she drew him in such a position, I could outline it and put it on a picture, a black and white camera picture, perfectly match. The collar, the tilted head, the hairline, the way he used to have his hair, perfect of my grandfather. But when she was drawing, I said, well, she said, I want to give it you. I don't know if I'll be doing these much more because I'm getting tired. Those words struck home. Have been in my heart ever since. I speak to her family very, very rarely, but I still speak to them and always make her laugh, her daughter. and her family. But that was a gift she gave me. So I knew something was not right, but it was her choice to give me a gift that I treasure. The love she gave me in that portrait of my grandfather. I remember him passing like it was yesterday. I remember my friend who drew the picture passing like yesterday. You see, that loss was a physical, but I gained them into my heart, into my energy. Whenever I think of them, they're there. My best friend, Steve, he died tragically in a car accident, and his sister didn't understand that he died tragically. He didn't plan on dying that way. He didn't. But all these years, are you sure he didn't kill himself? Are you sure he didn't? I said, I know. Black and white, he didn't. And I had to step away because she wanted to believe one thing and I knew something else. I know beyond doubt he didn't kill himself. And I love him and his family. But when somebody is so set on in a rut, I'm not climbing in the rut with you, I'm sorry. Loss is about stepping out of a rut. Love gets you up out of a rut. Remembering them positively gets you out of that lost rut. I chose my friends. They are part of my life forever. When I pass and go into the next realm, I'm going to see them again and give them a hard time in the way I always did and have fun. And I'm going to learn even more on the other side because you don't stop living. And it upsets those that you've loved and lost physically. When you sit back, you've gone. I've been with you for so long. Yes, I feel you and I understand it. But you've got the memory of love, of joy, of friendship, and laughter, and the pain. You've got it all in your heart. You've got to choose what stays there in a good way. If it's not good, get rid of it. The family you have around you now, friends, loved ones, blood relatives you want. I've got a half sister. I've only met her a couple of times. I'm closer to her than I am with my brothers and sisters I live with for most of my life. How can that be? She thinks on a similar wavelength as I do. She's as cuckoo as I am. We have never been upset with each other ever. We just change the subject. We are family. We choose our family. The loss you don't want, but you've got to choose to live it. You've got to learn to live through that loss. You've got to know that you're going to be with your friend again one day. Hope it's a long time from now, because I don't want to go yet. I've got a lot to do on this earth. I've got to finish my books, pass them on, understand about what I was talking about. You see, this life is difficult enough with the politics, cost, environment, and all the rest of it. It's tough. So pick your friends carefully, those that uplift you. And if you do want to come to talk to me, I am Reverend Graham Williamson, third generation international intuitive evidential medium and psychic. I'm the host of this show, Dare to Dream, on new streaming network. If you want to get hold of me by email, amedium77, all one word, at gmail.com, or the Britt, TheBritt77 at hotmail.com. The Hotmail one's an old one. The Gmail's more modern. And if you want to phone me, it's Florida, USA, 352-409-1060. Leave me a voice message. All these are ways with which you can contact me and asking you questions or point of view or whatever you want to do. If you want a reading, let me know. But I will see you on the 10th of September, perfect time in CC. 10th of September, Wednesday, 6 p.m. till about 6:40, 6:45. It's been a pleasure being here, and it's a difficult topic. But I hope what I've shared with you today will help you understand it's a choice. Living, loving, and losing. Physically, you will lose them. Be back in a minute. Oh, which one are we doing? Are we goodbye and see you after the week after next? Okay, I thought we were going to have a break then. Okay, but I want you to think about it though. You're going to have loss. You're going to have family. Choose the memories that make you happy. And with that, love and light, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.